Today we are watching the Path of Exile Ultimatum expansion announcement and Path of Exile 2. This is from the live stream, which happened just a few hours ago. I was unfortunately at bed when it happened, so we are watching this now live on my channel. I'm not sure if we were watching the full 3 hours of this. It seems like at the end they have like a round table or something going on, so I'm not sure if I will watch that. But I will gladly watch everything else. We might skip here and there a little bit, because 3 hours is a long time. And we also have to watch something else on the live stream. And maybe play some video games. I know it's crazy. But let's watch and see what we actually have to see here. So thankfully I can jump ahead a little bit, 10 seconds, and let's see what they have to showcase. I'm actually kind of excited about this, not so much about the new expansion. I think especially with the last expansion they have outdone themselves, so I'm not sure if they can top that.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson.
Hi Chris! Whoa,
Thanks
who's
so much
that
for joining
dude in
us
the
here
background?
today. And today is a day about Path of Exile. You're going to find out a lot of awesome stuff we've been working on.
Yes.
Before we get started though, I wanted to mention that there are Twitch drops that you can win. Below
Ooh.
the live stream there are some instructions for signing up and linking your Twitch account, your Path
I've
of
missed
Exile account,
this.
and if you do that, you'll be eligible to receive the drops. So today's live stream has got 4 sections. They say you should start your show with a bang, so we're going to start right off with Path of Exile 2.
Oh!
After that, we're going to show you Path of Exile Ultimatum. This is an
Awesome.
expansion for regular Path of Exile that's coming out literally next week.
Oh, Ziggy
After
D
that,
is
we're going to
doing
be
a
joined by
Q&A.
Ziggy D,
Okay.
who's going to host a Q&A where he asks me a whole bunch of questions from Twitch chat. So if you have any questions about the various reveals, make sure to keep them for the Q&A. Then
Okay.
there's going to be a live episode of the Bay Class podcast where Taki Cat and his crew of Path of Exile veterans are going to discuss all of the things we've announced today. They'll be joined by Rory Rackham, who's the Grinding Games developer who was in charge of the development of the Ultimatum League.
Okay.
Alright, let's get started. You're probably wondering, why has it been so long since we last showed you any Path of Exile 2 footage? And honestly, this is because the project is so important to us that we are definitely taking our time to
I'm
make
okay
sure
with
we have
that.
the best possible action RPG.
Especially when they have to
Let's watch
compete
the new
with
trailer.
Diablo 4, right? Like, those games will probably come out at the same time, and it will be a really clash of the titans. Which is kinda exciting, not gonna lie. Oh, I know that gate. Or well, the other gate. Ooh, we're going to the east.
Corruption advances, spreading dread and despair.
Ooh.
We must give chase.
This looks good. Ew, spiders. Yeah, this looks really good. Ooh, I like this.
These sands hide countless secrets. 3,000 years of dormant malevolence. We must hunt down the sea.
I love the
and put an end
Eastern
to
touch.
madness. If Rayclast is to survive.
Oh wow, 2 bosses? This looks really good. Forsaken Sun. Woo! This looked really good. I like it. Alright. That was slick.
That trailer really shows what we have achieved with Path of Exile 2. I am so proud of the efforts of the entire team in putting that together. At ExileCon, we announced that Path of Exile 2 is a true sequel to Path of Exile. So that means a new
Hey,
7-act
Mnemonic.
campaign,
Yeah, this is Path of
it means
Exile
a whole
2.
new skill gem system, new items, new monsters, character classes. All the Ascendancy classes are completely new. It's got cutting-edge next-generation graphics, as you just saw. Basically, it's everything you would expect from a sequel to Path of Exile. But we're not just throwing away our legacy, we're embracing it. Both campaigns will be fully playable from within the same game client. You'll be able to play through the original Path of Exile storyline or the new Path of Exile 2 campaign on the way to the shared endgame. All of your old characters will still be playable, and of course any microtransaction purchases you've made in Path of Exile will carry on to the sequel.
That's so good.
At ExileCon, we introduced the dark forests of the island of Ogum, where you start your journey. Today, we're proud to showcase Path of Exile 2's second act, which takes place in the Vastiri Desert.
Yeah, I'm done with the campaign of Path of Exile 1.
Welcome to Path of Exile 2's second act.
Yeah.
As you saw in the trailer, Act 2 is centered around a caravan of Maraketh called the Ardura who live in the Vastiri Desert. You're chasing another caravan from an...
Isn't it kind of funny that a lot of action RPGs throw you into a desert in the second act? Like, I think this is more and more becoming the norm for action RPGs. Like, hey, what are we doing for the second act? Well, a desert, of course. Oh yeah, you were right.
an opposing tribe called the Faradun. There's a set of large ancient gates blocking the progress of the caravan through a desert pass.
Like, a lot of action RPGs are doing it.
To unlock them.
We shall wait here, Jingak. But the military carts have departed for the gates. Make haste.
It's kind
Path
of
of Exile 2
interesting.
is a lot more than just new acts. We want combat to feel both brutal and responsive, even at low levels. We're ensuring that each weapon type has unique and different mechanics. Each weapon class is different to play, and today we're going to start by demonstrating the new spear weapon class.
Oh, hell
Spears are a
yeah.
weapon class favoring mobility with both melee and ranged attack options.
I love
To
spears.
that end, each spear will grant you at least one mobility skill. In this case, the spear comes with both an engage and disengage skill. When you engage, it increases your melee damage for a short time, and that really encourages you to be mobile during combat.
Still, we see we have mana issues still.
One of the skills we're using here is called Whirling Slash. When you use Whirling Slash, it creates a sandstorm that grows in size each time you use the skill. When you leave the sandstorm, it explodes, dealing damage to nearby monsters.
Oh, that's
A great way to do that is to
cool.
use the Disengage skill, which makes you fly backwards and throw projectiles.
Yeah, it looks like the area from Act 4 in the first game. Yep. I can totally see that.
In PoE 2, each area's mini-boss is a much more substantial fight with interesting mechanics. You'll be able to find
Oh,
at least
that's
one mini-boss
cool.
in each area of the game.
Yo, that
One
looks
thing I love
amazing.
about this boss in particular is that it destroys the ceiling when it slams the ground, letting in more light. Clever players will notice that if they're standing in the light, then they're not going to have any rocks falling on their head.
Oh, that's cool. I love that.
The rapid assault skill that we're using against this boss does 3 rapid stabs, followed by a 4th stab that deals more damage and can stun, if you're willing to commit to a long attack time. While developing the skills for Path of Exile 2, we were really thinking a lot about designing skills that could be cancelled early to dodge, or you can commit to the full attack for maximum damage.
Neat. Yo, I would play a spear class. Like, this is totally my jam. Oh, come on, show the greater man. No, you can. Oh, pick the legendary up, please. Oh, or unique, not legendary, unique. You know what I mean. You know. You get what I mean.
One of the skills we're using here is called Spear Field, which creates an area of spears coming out of the ground that impale monsters who walk into them, causing them to bleed.
Oh, that's
As the monsters move
cool.
towards you, they take damage, so using your mobility skills as a way to move away from them
that
is
nearly
a great
killed him.
strategy here. In Path of Exile 2, we've invested a lot in our animation system. I'm sure
I can
you're
see that.
noticing the animations are looking a lot better than they did in PoE 1. But there's also a lot of subtle detail, like characters having different run animations depending on how fast they're moving. When we use a Quicksilver Flask here, you can see the character changes to a sprinting animation.
Yeah, that's cool. There's actually a build I would play. So many scooters. Yeah, the lighting is really pretty in this one.
Now that we've arrived at the Ancient Gates, we're going to show you another of the new weapon classes in Path of Exile 2, crossbows. Crossbows are special in that they grant attack skills implicitly. This particular crossbow grants Power Shot, which is a high damage single target attack. In order to modify what Power Shot does, you're going to need to equip Bolt skill gems, which change the type of bolts that are loaded into the crossbow. Here we've
Oh,
got
that's
3
cool.
different bolt skills that the character can switch between depending on the situation.
Armor-piercing bolts. Incendiary bolts.
She's saying it.
Permafrost bolts can be
Like in
used
an
to disrupt
anime.
groups of enemies to prevent them from closing in on your position. You can then follow up with armor-piercing
Frost
bolts to do plenty
bolt.
of damage.
Armor-piercing bolt. Total destruction.
In this area, we're helping Asala, leader of the Ardura, to open the ancient gates and let the caravan through.
I love that frost effect, by the way. Like, that's really neat, man.
Because the bolt types are the skill gems, support gems that are added to them will modify whatever the skill is that you're using. Here we're going to add multiple projectiles to our Incendiary Bolt.
By the way, I know they showed this in the first one, in the first trailer, but I love the new skill gem system. I think it is so much better to what they do in the first one. Like, it really speaks to me more. I know it's a small and subtle thing, but I really love it.
Incendiary bolts.
Especially because I'm not, like,
Armor-piercing bolts.
bound to my loot luck anymore.
Incendiary bolts.
In Path of Exile 2, we're doing a lot more interesting things with monster packs. Here you can see some of the monsters patrolling around.
Piercing bolts.
Oh, what the? Oh, that's cool. The rocks, which are basically creatures. Ha! I hope you can deactivate her saying all the time, like what bolts she is swapping to. Because after 100 times, I think it gets a little bit annoying.
Piercing bolts.
Okay, we get it. You changed the bolt. Yeah, it already annoys me and I'm just watching this gameplay presentation.
Incendiary bolts. Armor-piercing bolts.
Now we're coming to another example of a Path of Exile 2 mini-boss, Li'im the Impaler.
Oh. Well, that is not a whole. I see enemies are still hitting like a truck. Cool, cool, cool. I love the mini bosses. I think the idea is pretty great.
Incendiary bolts. Armor-piercing bolts.
The boss has dropped another type of crossbow, a siege crossbow. This
Ooh.
crossbow grants the siege cascade skill. The skill is also
looks like a
modified depending
Buritsa.
on what type of bolts you're using.
What? It's an artillery crossbow? Yo. Oh god.
Incendiary bolts.
Not gonna lie, that's definitely one of the things I've been missing in Path of Exile 1. Like the Amazon, like real Amazon stuff from Diablo 2. Like spears and
Incendiary bolts.
I want to say Arbalist, but you know, the Arbalist. Crossbow. There we go. Arbalist, crossbow. Nearly the same, mate. Nearly the same. I was looking for a crossbow.
We tried to add a lot more little details to combat in Path of Exile 2.
The attack
You
speed
might
is
notice
slow,
that
though.
the monsters who die while burning have charred corpses.
You can fix that.
We really want to make sure that there's a feeling that as you leave the battlefield, there's clear evidence of what combat took place there.
You can fix that.
Permafrost bolts.
If I have learned one thing in Path of Exile,
Permafrost bolts.
you can fix the downsides of certain skills and abilities quite quickly. Or at some point.
Armor-piercing bolts.
Annoy me with your announcement bolt.
Incendiary bolts.
If you can hear that as another player in the group, I will kick the player the moment they join. If I'm seeing that they're using crossbows, I will kick them. No. No. If I have a person standing next to me saying that the whole time, I'm going crazy. That is not okay. You triggered my trap card. It looks great though.
Incendiary bolts.
It looks great. I love it.
This is the perennial king, the leader of the Faradun. His
Oh.
goal here is to prevent you from catching the caravan at any cost.
Oh, that blade looks amazing. He looks more like a Dark Souls boss. Ooh. Tentacles. Well, we all know what that means. Vile Idol. I wonder what it does when he doesn't kill them quickly enough. Probably healing the boss. Or killing you. Maybe killing you. Dot builds seem to be...
Make haste.
Oh!
You must not escape.
Well, he escaped. Oh, we have a level up.
He conjures the very sands against us.
Oh, that's cool. Who are you?
This madness has gone on long enough. The king is not the man I once knew. And sand swallow me if I do any more to enable him. You plan to continue your pursuit, yes? You will not catch him. Not without me.
Wow,
Cannot
big
follow through the raging sands.
words.
Let us return to the caravan and question this defector.
This is the Ardura Caravan, your town in Act 2.
Oh, that's cool. A moving town.
I am Asala, the Sekima of the Ardura. I care not where you came from, nor what caste you might have been there. All that matters is
That's
that
cool.
you have shown yourself capable.
Look at
in
all the
battle,
details
Jinga.
here.
Remain a friend to the Ardura, and you shall have nothing but respect from us. From what your
That's so
shade has
cool.
told us, the situation is dire. This Balbalic will live or die based on her usefulness in pursuit of the seed of corruption. Ask her what questions you will, then we, Ardura, will decide her fate.
Oh, good. I love this.
Trust me. You will see the truth of my information soon enough. I ask nothing of you. Only that you do what you know is right.
One of the things we really wanted to do in Act 2 was to use the mobility of the caravan to allow the player to choose how they explore the act. You're
Oh,
given 4 options on how to proceed.
oh, that's cool.
There is a tribe of lost men that inhabits the Mastodon Badlands.
The
They worship
Mastodon
mounds of
Badlands.
those long ago
Oh my.
beasts, and that faith has given rise to powerful tasks.
I love that you can now
can
choose the
somehow
parts.
call on storms and strike
I wonder if it
enemies
makes a
with
difference,
lightning.
actually.
The king wishes to steal these objects of worship and use their
Or
lightning
if you're going to all the
in war.
places at some point, and it doesn't really
Do what
matter.
you must.
Though events demand you tread upon a valley of the dead, do not do so flagrantly. Keep your presence light, cleanse what corruption you can, and we shall skirmish with the Faradun to protect your flank.
Once you've picked your
Okay.
destination, the caravan will travel to that area and come to a stop so that you can disembark and go on your quest.
Oh, that's freaking cool. That's really cool.
Because we just got the Storm Sphere skill as a quest reward, now would be a great time to switch back to spears and use some ranged abilities.
Hell yeah! Show me that spears.
Storm Spear fires a lightning projectile which splits on contact.
Yeah, I'm curious how far they are pushing it with choosing where to go. Like, I'm really curious about it to see the whole thing
Blazing
unfold.
Lance creates a trail of fire from the ground, dealing damage over time.
Oh.
However, if you're willing to stand in place for long enough, you can throw a second spear that will fan the flames for much more damage.
Oh, dude. Dude. I love it. This is something I've been looking forward to in Path of Exile and never got, because there were no, like, throwing spears. And spears... Like, well, technically there were spears, but not... Oh, of course.
Just found a unique spear.
Yes, of course.
Devata's Wind. This spear has an extra modifier that synergizes really well with Storm Spear. When you disengage, you get 2 additional projectiles on your projectile skills.
That spear looks so good. I also love the monsters. There seems to be a lot of variety. That's a lot of bones. It feels a bit slower, but that's also because it's Act 2. Like, the difference between speed in Path of Exile at the beginning and then later on in the game, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. Like, you know, even in Diablo, there is a little bit of, like, speed increase, but it's not as crazy as in Path of Exile. Oh god, this reminds me of the, I don't know why, but I get flashbacks to the Lion King. Yes, the old Lion King game, where you had to go through the bone graveyard. Ugh. There was actually a point where I failed quite often as a kid. I don't know why that is coming up now in my mind. But this is good. I would definitely love to do like a spear build. Ooh. This reminds me of the first Diablo 3 trailer, where by the end they also summoned like a bone enemy, which then became like a colossus. And that enemy was in the game of Diablo 3. But it was just an enemy. Like, it was not really like a special boss fight or anything. It was literally just an enemy they showcased. Diablo 3. Let's not talk about it. So that music, man, as amazing as it is, it's quite loud. Yeah, the enemies are still hitting like a truck. Like, when the character gets hit, they are losing at least like 50% of their health. So, getting hit is still not a good idea. But it's good. I like it. Nice. The Mastodon. Oh, that damage, man. Ooh. That was awesome, though.
If you have any questions about what you just saw, we'll be doing a Q&A later on. While Path of Exile 2 definitely won't be released this year, we do have a Path of Exile expansion you can play 1 week from now.
Okay, before we are going into this, this was awesome. This was really, really awesome because this was also the first time where they really showed like some new stuff. The first trailer, yeah, they have showed the, what was it? The werewolf and like some of the new fights. But it's really cool to see actually now some new skill gems, some new weapons. And I'm really, really curious to see how it goes. Like, this makes me excited. And as I said before, I assume that Path of Exile 2 and Diablo 4 might come out at the same time. Even though Path of Exile 2 might actually be available before Diablo 4. Yeah. But I'm excited for it. Like, this looks great. And I'm really curious what else they're doing. Because, not gonna lie, I've reached the point with Path of Exile 1 where I'm getting a little bit annoyed. I don't want to say bored, but playing through all the acts again for every new season is really a thing where I just feel like I have enough. Like, I don't want to play the story campaign again. I don't care. Like, and especially 10 acts. Yes, I know the last 2 acts are a joke. You can do them super quick. But it's still like, I just can't anymore after all those years. I'm really like, I'm done. I'm done. So, I really hope that for Path of Exile 2, they will stick with like 4 or 5 acts and they will not overdo it. Because, especially because they have the season events, right? Where they are basically releasing a new season / expansion every 3 months or every 4 months. I don't just want to start over and over again, you know? Like just, But yeah, Path of Exile 2 looks great. And I'm curious to see what they will showcase for Ultimatum. So let's have a look, shall we?
I'd like to introduce Path of Exile Ultimatum.
You only live once, Exile. Make your choice.
Well, technically, that's not true. I have to say, though, the Ritual League was really good.
A simple ultimatum. Leave with your life and a meager reward, or risk it all for a chance at ungodly riches.
Oh.
For each trial you accept, the challenge grows.
Oh.
And leave with nothing.
Oh, that's brutal.
Reap the reward you deserve.
Ooh. 8 new gems. When the recipes, okay. Oh, the Lord's Labyrinth. Ailments. Wow. They reworked everything? Reworked everything.
Ultimate reward requires ultimate risk. Face the ultimatum.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
When some people think of the Val civilization, they think of blood sacrifices, or Queen Atziri, or lost temples in the jungle. But I think of risking your items. From Val orbs through double corruption, the whole Val or no balls meme, we had to make sure that this expansion was about the concept of risking your items to get great reward.
Oh boy.
In each area of the Ultimatum League, you'll meet the Trial Master, an emissary of a Val entity only known as Chaos. On behalf of
it's me.
Chaos, the Trial Master
Well,
enacts trials
kind of.
where exiles must risk an escalating set of valuable rewards as they attempt
Yo,
to
that's a
overcome
neat
progressively
intro.
more difficult encounters. In each trial, you'll be presented with a reward, an objective, and a selection of difficulty modifiers that make the trial harder. Once you've chosen one of the modifiers, you must then complete that objective under the constraints of that modifier in order to win the promised reward.
And you are not allowed to leave the arena, I assume.
If you succeed in the challenge, the Trial Master will present you with an ultimatum. Either walk away with what you have earned so far, or risk it all to try to win additional rewards.
Thank you very much for all the elixir, I do appreciate that.
Modifier and complete the challenge with both modifiers present. If you fail though, you'll lose both rewards and walk away with nothing.
That's bad for me.
If you succeed, you'll be offered an additional reward in exchange for adding yet another difficulty modifier that stacks on top of the
I'm too greedy for this kind of like playstyle.
become increasingly valuable and the encounter extremely difficult. You'll have to pick a point to end your run and claim your spoils before you make the encounter too hard and lose everything.
Yeah.
At its longest, an ultimatum in-game maps can sometimes have up to 10 fast trials in a row, with a special surprise in the last one.
Man, I'm too greedy for this.
Items called inscribed ultimatums.
Oh my god, what is that?
Placed in the map device to transport you to the Trial Master's domain.
Oh.
Each inscribed ultimatum specifies an offering that you must bring with you, a reward you can earn, and an assortment of ultimatum difficulty modifiers. If you're able to complete the Trial Master will reward you with the specified reward, which is usually worth around twice the value of the item you must bring. For example, you may be asked to risk an Exalted Orb to win a stack of 2, or potentially risk a stack of 5 to win a stack of 10.
Damn.
Naturally, inscribed ultimatums can be traded with other players.
Of course.
So if you don't feel capable of completing a difficult challenge, you may be able to trade it away for a portion of the difference in price between the reward and the item that must be risked. Likewise, if you have a powerful character, you may be able to selectively trade for profitable ultimatums to run. There are also new unique items that can only be obtained from ultimatums.
Oh, that looks cool.
One such unique is the Glimpse of Chaos Val Mask, which provides powerful benefits to your maximum life, mana, and energy shield at the cost of having severely reduced elemental resistances and no chaos resistance.
Oh,
It can
wow.
be corrupted multiple times and has unique corruption outcomes, such as removing a random modifier or transforming it into a different random corrupted unique helmet entirely that retains its corruption implicit mod.
Damn.
Another new Val unique item in Ultimatum is Mahuzottl's Machination, which grants you 6 keystone passives at once.
Wait.
Combining all of these keystones results in some very unusual outcomes, and the item features an entirely new unique keystone as well. We have worked hard to make sure that Ultimatum doesn't punish you for being in a party with other players. Party members compete in trials together, but have separate rewards available to them that will need to be locked in to begin the trial. Each player votes on which difficulty modifiers to select.
Oh, that's
If there's a
neat.
draw in votes, the modifier will be chosen at random. If one player wants to take their reward and opt out of the next difficult trial, they're able to do so without stopping the other party members from continuing. Rewards are dropped allocated to the players who earned them. So that's Path of Exile Ultimatum. I can tell you, on release day, a lot of our developers are looking forward to watching Twitch so we can see players risking far too much in order to try to get good rewards.
What?
Speaking of rewards, there's a lot to talk about here. We had a look at Path of Exile's past rewards.
You watching me?
And we honestly feel many of them.
Well,
are
I'm on
out of date.
Trovo though.
Many of them kind
Not
of
on
lack
Twitch.
identity, and to top it all off, like the core drop pool of just items that drop when you kill regular monsters just wasn't really compelling enough. Like,
Yeah.
you know that feeling where any monster could drop a mirror? We want that for a whole slew of different items.
Cool.
And so we've made a lot of changes to Path of Exile's reward systems. There's a bunch of ones to the core drop
Good.
pool to keep it really interesting. There's ones to basically every piece of League and expansion-specific content. And we're going to go through all of those for quite a while now. And I should mention that every change we're about to discuss not only affects the Ultimatum League, but also Standard League too.
Good.
We started by reviewing which items can drop from monsters and chests in the core game. To make sure the core drop pool remains compelling, we've made various changes. You can now find 2 additional currency items as core drops, Orbs of Binding from the Harbinger League, and the new Veiled Chaos Orb, which we'll reveal in more detail soon. We've
Oh.
also added 5 new Atlas-based types, like this Energy Shield Recharge Amulet. These drop in specific regions of the Atlas of Worlds and have some powerful new implicit mods. Another topic related to the core drop pool is that of boss runs.
Yes.
Veteran community members will remember when people used to do Val Oversoul or Dominus runs over and over because they were a profitable use of time.
I remember.
Final act bosses now drop more and better items, giving you a much more satisfying close to a difficult act and a more item-focused approach to getting ready for maps if you prefer.
Yes.
We have also added a bunch of very powerful and valuable League-specific uniques into the core drop pool. This means that they can drop from any sufficiently high-level monster without you having to engage with specialized content. Examples of these are Badge of the Brotherhood, Asylum, Pledge of Hands, Maloney's Mechanism, Brutus's Lead Sprinkler, and Headhunter. The goal of all of these changes is to make sure that every monster you kill in Path of Exile has a chance to drop something incredibly valuable, regardless of what content you're playing.
Okay.
On top of all of that, we have added a handful of new vendor recipes, which let you make some pretty cool stuff. We really miss the days when players were scrambling to try to find unknown recipes, and so we're looking forward to seeing how long it takes for you to discover how these ones work.
Wait, is that a fishing rod?
We have also introduced a new.
Was there always a fishing rod in the game?
The core drop pool for this expansion.
Wait.
If you're very lucky, you can find a Val reliquary key from any monster or chest in Path of Exile.
Have I
When
missed
consumed
that?
in the map device, it gives you access to a vault with a chest that drops a special foil version of a Val-themed unique item.
Oh.
Each unique has an equal chance of dropping. Due to the value and power level of the items contained within, this is the rarest reliquary key ever added to Path of Exile. The rest of our reward changes relate to items that you can earn by playing past content like prior leagues and expansions. We have two goals here. The first is to add and improve items so that all past content has a compelling set of rewards. The second goal is to make it so that the best way to get any reward is to play the content that is primarily associated with that type of reward.
Okay.
Path of Exile's first expansion, Sacrifice of the Val, introduced a new ultimate boss, Adzeri, Queen of the Val. This fight holds up pretty well these days, considering that it is 7 years old, but its rewards really needed a refresh. The Sacrificial Garb base type that drops from Adzeri has been significantly improved with the addition of an implicit mod that grants +1 to the level of all Val gems you have equipped. We have also added 2 new unique items to Adzeri's drop pool and 2 more to Uber Adzeri's. One of which is the Adzeri's Rule Judgment Staff, which prevents you from being stunned or having your damage reflected. It grants a skill that alternates between Flames of Judgment and Storm of Judgment when used, as if you absorb the powers of Adzeri herself. Skipping forward to 2016's release of Ascendancy, we have made some changes to how you receive your Labyrinth enchantments. Previously, when you completed the Labyrinth and went to enchant an item, you couldn't see what random result you'd get. Now, the result for each type of enchantment is shown to you in advance so you can make the right choice. In the Eternal Labyrinth, you're now offered 3 different helmet enchantments to pick between, in addition to the boots and gloves. This will make it a lot easier to find enchantments relevant to the skills you're using and to apply them to appropriate items.
Okay.
In 3.14, we're going to stop giving out unique jewels for each day's fastest Labyrinth runs, and we have added these jewels as very rare drops that you might find in the Labyrinth's final reward chests. Another highly requested Labyrinth-related improvement is that you can now consume an offering to the Goddess and the map device to open portals directly to a random trial. This greatly accelerates the speed at which you can find your final trials.
Huh.
We have also added 2 new Labyrinth-specific
that
unique
looks
items,
cool.
including the Scales of Justice unique
That's no
shield,
energy.
which rewards building your character with a careful balance of life and mana. If used correctly, you'll be granted protection from shock and ignite, as well as additional fire damage. Kadira Perandus now has a much larger selection of unique item rewards. We have also rebalanced all sources of Perandus coins so that Perandus content is still the best place to get them from. A craft introduced in Harvest kinda destroyed the Perandus coin economy, so we're absolutely fixing that at the same time. Essences have been numerically rebalanced and are in general stronger than they were before. Screaming Essences can now be used to reroll rare items, in addition to their capability to upgrade items to rare. The 4 Corrupted Essences have had some of their less useful outcomes improved or replaced. Now, the only way to get the powerful upgrade-only top-tier Essences is through Remnants of Corruption, which come from Essence content.
Damn.
Blessings, the currency used to upgrade Breach uniques, can now be used to upgrade Breach stones between tiers also. Abyss jewels have been rebalanced and are on average more powerful than they were before. We've also buffed
So you
Abyss
basically
jewels
have to
make sure they're the best ways
relearn
to get Abyss
where you
jewels.
get like all your stuff from.
We have also introduced Abyss Scarabs and have added 4 new Abyss-specific unique jewels, such as Tekrod's Gaze, a murderous eye jewel that increases your main hand critical strike chance and your offhand critical strike multiplier based on how many murderous eye jewels you have equipped.
Damn.
Another example is the Ulaman's Gaze Searching Eye Jewel, which counts how many Searching Eye Jewels you have equipped and grants your projectiles a chance to be able to chain when colliding with terrain proportional to this number. These unique jewels have a chance to drop from any of the unique encounters
I sometimes,
at the end of the
you know,
abyssal depths,
I
and these
sometimes see
encounters are now
those
by
things
far
and
the most
I'm like,
reliable way to obtain a
I'm
sticky
not
price
smart enough
build.
for this.
We have added a handful of
I'm
new
not
beast
smart
mods,
enough
such
for
as
this kind
add a
of
mod to a
math
map,
to
or add a mod
understand,
to an
like,
influenced item,
how
which
good it
consume
really
different
is.
beasts. There are some other aspects of beast crafting that we've been keeping our eye on for a while, and we're taking this opportunity to rework them, so that high-level gameplay is less reliant on obtaining certain beast crafts. Now,
Okay.
when you use the splitting beastcraft recipe on an item, both copies are marked as split, which prevents them from being split again. You cannot imprint split items. One of my favorite reward changes in this expansion is that Incursion's Temple of Atsuato can now be itemized. Once
Wait.
you have access to the map device, Alva can turn your completed and ready-to-run temple into a tradable object that can be consumed in the map device. This means that players can specialize in either making temples to trade to other players, or trading for temples that are ready for them to run. There have also been a lot of changes to the temple. As you may know, specific rooms in the Temple of Atsuato can drop unique incursion items that can be later upgraded. Many of these base unique items have been improved in this update. Previously, the temple's boss, the Omnitect, dropped random rare items with special incursion mods on them. Now it also drops rare items with incursion mods based around the themes of the rooms your temple contains. Higher tier rooms cause more rare items. Specific rooms now add specific monster packs to the temple, which results in more monster density, challenge, and reward. Temple mods have been buffed so that if your temple has more high tier rooms, then it's equivalent to a good map.
That's
We
so
have
many
performed a
changes.
modernization pass on rewards from temple rooms so that they're competitive with rewards from newer leagues. The explosive room also contains some
As
basic
a
chests that can be opened with flash powder kegs if you don't need them for opening a path.
casual Path of Exile player, I sometimes
Delve into
ask
the increased
myself,
early rewards and a reduction to the quantity of high tier rewards
If
spawning at very deep depths. The end result is that Delve is a lot more rewarding for almost
the
everyone,
amount of
but a
changes
few
they're
extreme
putting
players
in
who delve
3
very deep
months
will not be getting quite
is
so
sometimes not a
rewarded.
bit too much.
A big problem with rewards and betrayal is that players deem it not worthwhile to kill Katarina because it resets your betrayal syndicate board. In this expansion, we have massively increased the incentive for doing this.
Oh.
Now if you manage to kill Katarina, all syndicate members drop their rewards at 1 tier higher than they previously would.
Oh,
This change required the introduction of a new
this could
fourth
actually
tier of
make
reward from each
the
syndicate
whole
member
thing
and
better.
encourages the use of a larger variety of syndicate targets and safe house leaders. We have improved rewards that were not as interesting or valuable as the best ones. For cases where we deemed rewards too powerful, we moved them to tier 4 rather than nerfing them. The tier 4 rewards are approximately twice as powerful as tier 3 ones were. We have also added a new unique item to Katarina's drop pool as further incentive for killing her. The Cane of Kulamak drops only from Katarina. Similar to Paradoxica, it has 3 veiled modifiers that must be unveiled one at a time via Jun. This means that each version of the cane could be entirely different, and because of the way the veiled modifier system works, you have the chance to get 3 mods that potentially synergize extremely well,
Or
maybe just a
get
crazy bag of mods that don't work
completely crap.
together. Furthermore, the cane itself scales up the magnitudes of any unveiled modifiers on it. We have made some changes to how unveiling mods works. You still get offered a choice of 3 mods, but these are now more powerful versions of the existing ones. The powerful ones are unveiled onto items, and the normal versions are the ones you unlock that can be crafted onto items.
Oh,
Also, progress towards unlocking crafting of veiled mods is at a slightly faster rate than before. Some very powerful veiled modifiers are now only available at their original strength on the unveiled version of the modifier, and the crafted version of the modifier has been lowered in power. Earlier in the presentation, I alluded to the new Veiled Chaos Orb as an item that has been added to Path of Exile.
before there's a rare item with new random
This new
modifiers,
currency
including a
item rerolls
veiled
target items
modifier.
and mods, like a regular Chaos Orb does, but one mod is guaranteed to be a veiled mod. While it can drop from any mod storage list in the game, by far the most effective way of getting it is from Exiling and some betrayal safe houses.
Ha.
We have introduced 3 new types of incubators for Blight, Metamorph, and Delirium, and have modernized the rewards from the other.
Yeah, totally.
The
Like,
item
we will
yields
talk
from
about that
chests and
when
blighted
they are
maps
done
is now
with
affected by a
this.
portion of the map item's quantity, giving you a reason to roll your blighted maps if you can handle the additional challenge. Anointments to blighted maps have been rebalanced and reworked so that each has its own purpose and with a consistent increase in reward as the oils get rarer. This is basically entirely buffs, because one big nerf we needed to do was already done last league. You can now corrupt blighted maps. These can very rarely drop the new tainted oil, which allows you to apply anointments to corrupted items.
Ah,
We have also introduced blighted scarabs. We have added 2 new types of catalysts themed around speed and critical strikes respectively. These new catalysts are rarer than previous ones.
that's so
As
crazy, like the
discussed in
amount of
recent
stuff they're
development
putting in.
manifesto, the current 3.13 version of Harvest is too rewarding, so we're rebalancing its crafting and also increasing how often you'll encounter portals to the Sacred Grove.
Yeah.
The current version spams you with way too many crafts, so each seed has a chance to grant a craft now, reducing the overall number of crafts you can perform per garden, though you will encounter the grove 60% more than you did before. Some of the most powerful crafting options have been removed or changed.
Yeah, if you wanted to
The heart of
grow,
the grove
to
encounter
farm
is now a
like
map fragment that can randomly
crafting
drop
stuff,
Tier 4 harvest bosses instead of rarely
it was
replacing
really
the
good
entire
right
grove
now.
when it spawns. With the release of Ultimatum, Ritual will be added to the core game, with a chance to occur in each map you play. It has also been added to the Atlas passive skill tree system and is available as a Sexton mod.
Nice.
Almost every time we release a league, we later roll it into the core game with a chance to spawn in maps. Usually 10%, sometimes 5%. When Ritual is added to the core
I
game,
love
we're
Ritual.
standardizing this rate at 8%, which means a small decrease for some leagues and an increase for Harvest. We've rebalanced other things to compensate, like the rate at which heist rogues...
What is that horn on his
Most Atlas
back?
passive trees have the same
Why have I
increase
never
in
seen
chance
that
for
before?
bonus content, meaning they now offer more than double the chance of encountering your preferred
Is that a
content.
skin?
So I just spent a ton of time describing lots of buffs to Path of Exile's different reward systems, and there was one nerf that I left to last. And this because it's a nerf to a league that I kind of care about a bit. Talisman was one that I kind of led the design on, and players joke that it's my favorite league. Now, in the 3.12.3 content update, there was a change to talismans. Basically, they weren't good enough, so the team decided to add a random anointment to them, which made them a lot more powerful, and also to juice up the mods to make them well-rolled. And that was overkill. Like, as you've seen recently, talismans have just been dropping with insane mods and great anointments. And we felt in this expansion, especially because you can use tainted oils in order to redo the anointments on talismans, because now you can modify corrupted amulets. Honestly, they don't need the well-rolled mods anymore, and so we've removed that. Talismans are still compelling, but they're not quite where they were in the last league. Every Path of Exile expansion
here we
uses
go.
new ways for players to slaughter their enemies.
Yes.
Path of Exile Ultimatum. This takes the form of 4 new skill gems and 4 support gems.
Okay.
In line with Ultimatum's Val theme, these gems focus on blood. The idea is spending life rather than mana to use your skills. Alongside the new skill and support gems, we've also made some adjustments to the low life mechanic, including changing the low life threshold to 50%. This makes it much easier and safer to stay on low life for builds where it matters.
50%?
Typically when players create low life builds, they rely on Energy Shield to protect themselves against incoming damage. The new skill Petrified Blood enables low life builds to instead use some of their life pool to absorb hits. While it's active, you can't recover life above 50% through any method other than flasks. Sources of life recovery like life regeneration and life leech only apply to the bottom half of your life pool. Additionally, a portion of incoming hit damage that affects the lower half of your life pool is spread out over time rather than being applied instantly.
Huh.
Corrupting Fever consumes a chunk of your life and grants you a buff that causes all your hits to apply Corrupted Blood to your enemies. Corrupted Blood stacks up with each hit, causing more and more physical damage over time. When you've consumed a certain amount of life to cast skills from your life pool, the buff's duration refreshes. Essentially, as long as you're consuming life to use skills, you'll be causing damage over time to stack on enemies. Be careful though.
Damn.
The Exsanguinate skill shoots tendrils of blood in front of you at the cost of life rather than mana.
That looks
In addition to a
amazing.
strong physical damage hit, it also applies a physical damage over time debuff, which can stack up to 3 times. You can also support Exsanguinate so that its tendrils chain from one target to the next.
Oh, hell yeah.
Is a giant bloody scythe that
Yeah, I
its
saw
legs
that. It
area,
looks
applying
cool.
strong
I was
damage
wondering
and
if this is a
physical
new
damage
skill
over
or
time.
just a skin.
Each use of the skill causes it to gain a charge that scales its damage up and increases its life cost up to 5 times.
Ooh.
These charges drop off over time as well as after killing enemies, making Reap very powerful at stacking up damage against single targets.
Hey, Tiny. Welcome in.
We've also added 2 new support gems that have split the existing blood magic support
the
into 2
armor.
separate support gems. The first of these is the Arrogance support, which causes supported skills to reserve life instead of mana, and also provides an increase to the effect of auras that it supports.
Okay.
Just like the original blood magic support gem, the reservation multiplier diminishes as the gem levels up. The life tap support causes supported skills to cost life instead of mana. Once you've consumed a certain amount of life to use a skill, you gain life tap, which increases your damage for a few seconds. The Cruelty support gem grants a buff called Cruelty, which increases the damage over time you deal with supported skills. It also boosts the hit damage from supported skills, and the Cruelty buff gets stronger the harder you hit. This gem is designed as an additional option for builds that focus on both hits and damage over time. The Bloodthirst support gem is a new option for low life attackers. This gem adds a percentage of your life as physical weapon damage while you're on low life, letting low-life attack-based builds really scale their damage, which wasn't an option before.
Wow. I'm curious if you can really do
Alongside a
it.
Val-themed expansion and blood-themed gems, it felt right to take the opportunity to improve Val skills, which are supercharged versions of regular gems that charge up with the souls of your slain enemies to deal huge bursts of damage. One of the main improvements is that you now get far more souls for Val skills from damaging unique enemies, so your Val skills will recharge faster against bosses. You've also improved the At-Series Rain unique jewel. Alongside increasing...
Yeah, I wonder if you can do a low life build.
A chance to regain all consumed souls. Val skills have also received a balance pass that you can check out in the full Path of Exile Ultimatum patch notes in a few days. So we've covered most of the key components that make up Path of Exile Ultimatum.
And now,
keep an eye on
the
news over
microtransactions.
next week as we reveal the finer details of what's coming. We'll move on to the Q&A shortly to answer your burning questions, but first let's have a quick look at the new supporter packs that are available right now to celebrate the launch of Ultimatum and help fund ongoing development of Path of Exile. The Silver Crescent and Imperial Sun supporter packs come with masses of points to spend in the store, social frames, forum titles and badges, a download of the digital soundtrack, and of course, exclusive cosmetic microtransactions such as armor sets, alternate helmets, and weapon skins.
That looks so amazing.
The Silver Crescent series has an exclusive portal effect, and the Imperial Sun series has an exclusive aura effect. Each series has 2 packs, and the smaller packs can be upgraded to their respective large pack anytime while they're still on sale. These are, of course, in addition to the new core packs that were released at the end of last year. Remember to check those out if you haven't already. Thank you so much for your support.
All right.
Purchases of these supporter packs are the only thing that fund ongoing development of Path of Exile, its sequel Path of Exile 2, and expansions like Ultimatum. The reveals we showed you today are already live on YouTube for you to link to your friends in case they missed the live stream. Please do so. We're keen to get a big turnout on the release of Ultimatum next week. And we've got plenty more reveals planned for the rest of the year. There's a lot more Path of Exile 2 stuff to show off, and we've also got some new progress on Path of Exile Mobile we're keen to share with you as well. Anyway, if you have any questions from what we've shown you today, please get them ready because I'm about to be joined by Ziggy D as we do a Q&A based on your questions from Twitch chat.
All right, we will stop here though, because this would take like another hour or 1.5 hours or something like that. And man, yeah, this is okay. So for everyone who is normally not a Path of Exile and who feels like, what the hell did I just watch? I'm with you. As somebody who has been playing Path of Exile since the early beta days, where literally the Warden of Act 1 was the end boss, right? Like, I have played Path of Exile on and off since. Like, I'm definitely what you would call a casual Path of Exile player, but I always kept myself up to date with things happening. The Q&A is amazing. Maybe, but we still have some other stuff to do. Sorry, Draco. I might watch it on myself or something like that, but yeah, we have some other stuff to do. Time is money, and we have been here for quite a time. But to bring down the point, keeping up with what is happening in Path of Exile as a player who jumps out and comes back again, it's nigh impossible. And I really hope they learn a little bit from it in Path of Exile 2. Like, because it's really overwhelming. And Path of Exile is not one of those games where you can just say, I can just come back after a patch and see what happens. Like, I just let it hit me. That doesn't work in Path of Exile. Path of Exile is one of those games where you have to plan out your route, where you have to make sure like you are aware of things happening, and if you really want to see the end game, you have to be informed about the things which are going on right now. And this is amazing, of course, for people who play the game for hundreds or thousands of hours at this point, because it means always ever-changing game and always new content, and I appreciate that. But especially for casuals and for new players, it's really daunting to get into this game. But what they have showed so far looked really, really promising, especially, as I said, for the old players. But I will be honest, I'm waiting for Path of Exile 2. Like, the Sacrifice League was really great, but I think I've reached a point where I just wait for Path of Exile 2. Like, yeah, I'm out too often of Path of Exile, and I also don't want to play the campaign again. Like, I'm really done with it. And I just wait for Path of Exile 2 at this point. So, Path of Exile 2 looks amazing. Really looking forward to it. This seems to be another great expansion for Path of Exile 1. Unfortunately, as I said, like, I think I'm done with Path of Exile 1. Like, I decided that with the latest leak, and yeah. I think that's just the point I have reached. Yeah. And play both campaign at once? Damn. I mean, do that. But yeah. Yeah. Like, it looks really good. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, that was our video for Path of Exile 2 and the new Path of Exile League. Looks very promising. I'm really looking forward to it. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like. And if you want to see more Path of Exile content and also more gaming news and gameplay from other games, please consider to subscribe to the channel. We are also really close to getting the 1,000 subscribers, which I would be very grateful for. So thank you very much for your support, and see you next time. Bye bye.